all different types of student management systems. But today, most schools have some type of system. And the great part about using that information and bringing all that information into the student management system is we're growing our knowledge about the student and his family, his background, and so on. So if you add a little bit, a teacher next year can add more and add more. The student management system is the central spot, the central data place for that information. Now, currently, you have a lot of information on students. You have cumulative folders, you've got information maybe from a counselor, you've got all different information. But we want to bring all that information together in a way that can be sorted, used very quickly as needed. So that's what I want you to think about as we go through this. Now, the trick is, there's all different types of platforms, different softwares, different vendors, different everything. So as I'm going through this, I need you to be thinking about your student management system. And even though I don't maybe show the exact one you're using, I want you to think about how you are utilizing it as a teacher. Here's a definition. This looks like a higher ed definition, but a student management system is really keeping track of all the pieces of information that go with this student. Some go very deep, going into things like their account in the cafeteria to all different things. There's all different types of student management systems. I'm just going to show you a few. These aren't my favorite. These are just a few that I pulled up. School Logic, some schools are using. And here you can see that they talk about discipline, fees, transportation, special ed. Now, very important, before we move beyond the screen, I want you to make sure that you are following all your district policies and everything, especially when you deal with special ed. Make sure that you're not putting anything in any location that shouldn't be shared. So we want to make sure our student management systems are secure and locked down, but please check with your administrator to make sure that whatever you're planning, thinking about, or investigating, that it follows your policy. Policy, very, very important. Here's a different one. Obviously, it looks like it's centered in 3 main parts of the country. Skyward is one. And again, these are not all of them. There's so many. There's little ones. There's districts that have made their own. Some districts run completely on their own homegrown system that they've kind of band-aided over the years. So there's, you name it, there's systems. This one I've found interesting. I didn't know this existed. This is an open source solution. So let me explain what open source is. Open source means anybody can use the code to the program to make it better. Volunteers all over the world are making this product. So when you hear open source, you almost always hear free. Free, free, free. But we have to remember, even though it's free, that doesn't mean it's not going to cost in time, labor, and so on in the district. So, boy, with our budgets shrinking the way they are, free, free, free sounds great, but you've got to look at the total cost of ownership. That is this product going to take so many resources from internal tech teams, administrative teams, that maybe free needs to be balanced into the equation. So I wanted to show it because it sounds so attractive at the beginning, but a lot of times open source isn't robust enough. That's probably the term to use. But they're out there, and this is not the only one that I found. So I was surprised by that. I was excited about that. Now the biggie, the big elephant in the room, is by Pearson. It's called PowerSchool. And I was a little surprised when I read their introduction, supporting 10 million students in 50 states. 65 countries, excuse me. PowerSchool enables you to make decisions. PowerSchool recently went web-based, meaning that you can access it anytime, anywhere that you can get to the internet. It's web-based. It used to be software that schools had on their servers. I won't get too technical, but the move to web-based was really quite huge, because that means that they didn't have to come out and fix everybody's computer server software stuff. They could fix it once and push it out to many. That's a non-technical explanation, but that will do for now. But PowerSchool is, I would say, the biggie. And with PowerSchool, you have Power Teacher, you have Power Administrator, I think. You have Power Student and Power Parent, I think. But basically, this is a really important moment. Look at this nice clean screen for me to talk about passwords. You need to make sure that you protect your passwords. I had somebody in my session last week that had her password taped to her computer. Not much of a password, not much security. You have to make sure that you do that because there's a lot of confidential information that is behind that password. So please, please, please don't use your dog, don't use your fish, your son's name, those kind of things. And it's really important to change your password on a regular basis. A lot of people use their student management system as their grading system also. And so you want to make sure that that is protected. All right, so there's a login somewhere that you log into your student management system at whatever role that you have. Now, this was new to me. I found this in iTunes, that it is an app for parents, so they can find out exactly. Imagine right on your whatever device you have, you can see attendance, assignments, scores, grades, everything, all in one place. Very convenient, but that means on the teacher end, you've got to put in those assignments, scores, grades. You need to keep up with it on a regular basis because this is the information parents see. So that doesn't mean that you have to have a test done that night, but you can't wait weeks to put your information in. A lot of people don't like student management systems because they feel like there's just people looking in their grade book at all times. But it's kind of becoming an expectation that a school district has some type of way that parents can see what's going on, and especially attendance and so on. Now, you have to, again, your password protected, you come in, lots of things to pick from. Here's the thing. The way most student management systems work, there's like modules that you can buy this module. For example, if you want to do your cafeteria billing through here, that would be a module. There's like different pieces. And so even though you see Power Lunch on this screenshot, you might not have Power Lunch because it's not a module that you have. And so there's everything from scheduling different things to lunch to you name it. So, but they're jigsaw pieces that kind of come together depending on what you need. The most important thing when you think about a student management, it's not the name, it's not the software, it's not who it is, it's that it's a central place for the information. So understanding that is really kind of my mission for this. You can see across the top you have all different things, and again, depending on what you use. Now, PowerSchool is going to give you lots of things. You may choose to use them or not. So for example, on the far right, you see My Calendars. You might not choose to put your calendar in here. You might choose to put it somewhere else. That's fine. But they give you lots of different features, and you need to pick out the ones that are going to work for you and what is an expected norm within your building. That's really important. Is your administrator expecting updates X times a week? What are the expectations? And that's something I can't tell you. That's something at the building level you have to make sure that you are meeting your expectations as a professional educator. Now, you might be in a place that there is no student management system and you have to come up with your own. Or when I look very specifically at this substandard, or the standard details, that the teacher continually and purposely gathers information. You might want to actually create a spreadsheet for your class, your students, however you want to organize it. And that way you can be keeping track of information. A lot of times the information comes to you in little pieces, dribs and drabs, and having a place or your own container to put that information is really a good idea. It also is much easier than a file or a folder on each person because you can access it anytime, anywhere that you can get to the internet if you choose to use an online spreadsheet. Be careful though, remember back to my point about the special ed in particular. Make sure the data that you're putting out there is okay with your administrator, okay? So just be sure, and always make sure you know where your information is saved. So let's say that you want to make a spreadsheet. You're ready to start, you want to make a spreadsheet today. Are you saving it on your computer, to your H drive, to the web, to your Dropbox? Where are you saving it? Really, really important. We have a video coming up that talks about saving and backing up and all of those things. You need to know that where your information is going. Here is one, and I'm like, this should not be out there. This was actually a template that I found on Google, and it was a contact list, but the coach whoever uploaded, I don't know if it's the coach, whoever uploaded didn't take off their names, their first name, their emails. I'm like, oh, not good, not good. Left it, obviously I blocked it, so we're not looking at that, but you want to make sure that you protect this information. This information actually was rebroadcast through the Google templates. Be careful, professional educators. So, student management systems, like understanding what they are, is the key. Like every one of you is in a unique situation. You've got to go seek out this knowledge on how yours works, how to manipulate it if needed. If you don't have a student management system, you got to come up with something. And a spreadsheet might be the best way. But again, follow your policy. That's really absolutely essential. So, to be a distinguished educator, you want to make sure that you are continually gathering information from various sources. So, thanks.